Welcome back to the Andrew and Ian Show. I'm Andrew Surwick here again with Ian. Hi. Ian, we finally fucking made it. Week 1, NFL, kicking off tonight. Well, it already kicked off. I mean, we got 2 minutes left in the second quarter of Chiefs-Ravens here, but we finally fucking made it. How you doing, man?
Doing really, really good. It's a hell of a statement to hear that we made it to football season.
Yeah, the dead of the summer of only watching baseball and getting the NBA and the NHL drafts. We're past all that stuff and the silly season stuff for that. So it's it's been a dead period, but now we're finally back. College ball started last week. We got NFL now, so let's get into it. And we're gonna talk real quick just about the Chiefs Ravens game. It's 13-7 right now. Um, Chiefs up right now, but going into this game, I would have picked the Chiefs to win this game. Um, Plain and simple, I think the Chiefs they came into this game 2.5 point favorites. I know they got upset by the Lions last year during their banner ceremony. I think they are trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. And yeah, I mean both these teams right now they're looking like they're shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again. But yeah, excited. Right now the Chiefs look pretty good too. At least offensively, defensively, I got some questions, but yeah, interesting game for sure. I wonder how much because I haven't watched a whole lot of this game yet. I'm gonna have to watch highlights for Tuesday, that's for sure. But just to see the dynamic with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, see how that's really really working out for Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, going into this game, that was one of my biggest things. I was like, I kind of want to watch. And right now, to me, they're not using Derrick Henry as much as they should be. Like, there's a lot of moments where I was like, okay, maybe you should have ran Derrick Henry a little more. But, I mean, granted, it's game one, it's first half of game one. You're gonna have bumps. You're not gonna have the best product that you can place out on that field. But I would expect a little better from this offense. And like you said, coming into this game, with the Chiefs being 2.5 point favorites, I would have taken them. But like knowing Justin Tucker's on the other end, you never know when he's gonna hit a 60-yard bomb and ruin your night.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Justin Tucker, the best kicker in football right now, and yeah, he very much could seal the game for Baltimore. But I think the Chiefs win and they cover. I mean, 2.5. That's just winning by a field goal to cover. So I think they can do that no problem here. Tomorrow night from Sao Paulo, Brazil, Eagles hosting the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, hosting the Packers, and I say hosting with air quotes. Um, in Brazil, the Eagles are the the home team in this game. Philadelphia favored by 2 here. Um, and did you see that they're going to be transporting all the players from the hotel to the stadium in an armored vehicle? Did you see that by chance?
Yeah, I did see that, and I mean, I know it's Brazil, but like, if that's the case, why are you even playing the game?
I mean, yeah, and the thing is too is they told the players don't leave the hotel and don't wear green because it's linked to gangs down there. And the NFL didn't realize that they're playing the 2 green teams. I mean, 2 of the 4 green teams in the league. Anyways, so Philly favored by 2 here. I think the Packers are going to get the upset. I think the Packers are more established because you had a cycle of coaching hires for Philly this year. Defensively, they did get better as a team. But I think the Packers just again they don't have a new system that they have to learn on either side of the ball, and a slightly younger team. I actually trust Jordan Love more than I trust Jalen Hurts right now as a quarterback. Teams have figured out the tush push, and yeah, so I think the Packers will will start the season off on the right foot.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I have Green Bay taking the win here in Brazil, and like you said, they have Jordan Love who showed that he can be that guy for Green Bay, and they just might have another Hall of Fame quarterback for the third quarterback in a row. But on the other hand, they also just got Josh Jacobs, so that's a new element that they Aaron Jones was, a decent running back, but Josh Jacobs, I think, is better than Aaron Jones. So that's another part of this Green Bay offense that they now have to pay attention to. But is that O line good enough to keep that?
Right, and I think that's the question mark there for Green Bay. But I just think overall, the Packers have a much more established team, um, and so it's gonna be a very interesting game. I know, obviously, especially with it being in Brazil, so the time zones actually aren't that bad like it would be if they were going over to Europe or something. So it works out better, I guess, for players. So I assume we won't see as bad of play as we would if it was over in Europe. So starting off on a Sunday afternoon, we got the Bills hosting the Cardinals. Buffalo favored here by 6.5. I'm very interested to see how both these teams do, just because obviously the Bills losing Stephon Diggs and the Cardinals gaining Marvin Harrison Jr. On the offensive side of the ball, it's going to be very interesting for both these teams. I think the Bills have a clearly much better defense, just overall than what Arizona has. And that's why I'm going to take the Bills. I don't think they cover, though. I think this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills blow them out because Kyler Murray is a midget and, might throw some picks because he can't see his receivers. But I feel like you're also going to see a lot of throws from Kyler that's just like, fuck it, Marv's down there somewhere.
Yeah, I was looking at this and I was like, yeah, he just got his Megatron pretty much. He's gonna be chucking it up there, saying he's down there somewhere, and that's definitely gonna be a recurring theme for the Cardinals this year, barring an injury to either of them. But can confidently say I think the Bills do cover. I think their defense is good enough to keep them within that range, and they'll win by at least a touchdown.
Yeah, I would completely agree. They could very well cover that 6.5, but I still feel like this is probably going to be a higher scoring affair for both sides. Um, that said, the defense for Buffalo is a lot better. So, but again, when you have Marvin Harrison on that offense that you're trying to cover, guys are going to get open because he's probably going to get at least double teams pretty much all game long. So guys are going to get open for Arizona, so I think that's going to help them out quite a bit. Next here, we have the Bengals hosting the Patriots. Cincinnati favored by 8.5. I'm taking the Bengals in this one. Healthy Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase trying to prove that he deserves to get paid. But much better defense. Yes, they lost DJ Reader, but it really doesn't make that much of a difference considering that they did upgrade their defense a ton this year. And the Patriots, new coach, and you have a rookie QB, and not a lot of weapons to throw to. Defense might be okay for New England, but it's kind of hard to win games when your offense probably won't score a lot of points.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Joe Burrow's back. He's coming back with the vengeance. I've seen a lot of the Slim Shady comparisons. I won't go that far to say he's going to come back like that, but he's coming back with the vengeance. He's going to want to compete, and he might not have Jamar Chase, but next man up for them, and he's going to make do with what he's got. And I think Cincinnati will win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, they should win this one. Covering 8.5 probably as well. I mean, in the NFL, it is hard to cover these bigger spreads, but it is because it is the NFL. Anything can happen and anything will happen. So, but I will say Cincinnati will cover that 8.5. The Giants hosting the Vikings. The Vikings actually favored in this one by 1.5 here. And it's very interesting because both these teams have elite wide receivers. You have Justin Jefferson for Minnesota and Malik Neighbors for New York, but they both have quarterbacks that can't fucking pass. Just awful quarterbacks. You got Daniel Jones for New York and who is it? Sam Darnold, is it for Minnesota?
I think it is.
Yeah. So yeah, you're not. you're not going to get a lot of. This is going to be a low scoring game. Even with these elite wide receivers on these teams, it's going to be a low scoring game because you have no quarterbacks. I do trust New York's defense, maybe a slight bit more, but I think they're pretty evenly matched defensively here. But I am going to roll with the Vikings. I think Sam Darnold's a little bit more serviceable than Daniel Jones is, so that's why I'm going to roll with the Vikings here.
Yeah, I'm also rolling with the Vikings simply because, I mean, when you put it just 1-to-1 and you start going down, starting with quarterback, Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Sam Darnold is not the greatest, and neither is Daniel Jones, but like you said it, I would take Sam Darnold over Daniel Jones. And then you go to, wide receiver. I'm 100% taking Justin Jefferson over Malik Neighbors, even though Malik Neighbors is amazing. And like with just those two, Sam Darnold literally has a cheat code in Justin Jefferson, and that should be enough for them to get the win.
Right, and also too, they got Jordan Addison, so um, you know that definitely helps open up the offense for Minnesota a little bit more as well. So not bad there. Bears hosting the Titans. Chicago favored by 3.5 here. I'm straight up taking the Bears to win and cover on that 3.5. I mean that is very easy. The Titans don't have a good quarterback. They lost Derrick Henry. They don't have a run game now. They don't have any notable wide receivers. The Bears defense is really good. We established that last year, and they got better as well. Caleb Williams, he's got something to prove. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's a little overhyped, but I still think he's really good. Um, and just yeah, Chicago's got an overall better team on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I'm rolling Chicago here, and they're going to cover that 3.5, no problem.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. This has gotten Chicago win and cover all over it. Titans, like you said, lost Derrick Henry, and they're just not the team they used to be. And the Bears are, again, post Justin Fields era. How are they going to react? How are they going to come back? They went out and they got Caleb Williams in the draft. This is their guy now. Let's see how he performs, right? So I'm taking him. It's 3.5 points. I think he can maybe win by 6.
Yeah, they should easily win by, I think, a touchdown at the very least here. Saints hosting the Panthers. Saints favored here by 4. I'm honestly surprised it's that small of a gap. I would have expected something like 6.5 or 7.5, but by 4, that kind of makes me wonder: have we been sleeping on the Panthers here? Just a little bit, but I still think the Saints win. I think they cover that 4, no problem. Chris Olave is great, and Bryce Williams looked like shit last year. He didn't the one drive that he played in the preseason, he didn't look too comfortable out there, and maybe that is because it's preseason, but he didn't look comfortable out there. So I'm taking the Saints all day in this one.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's probably, Derek Carr is the one throwing passes for the Saints. But this is, I don't know. I don't think it's so much as the Panthers are better than we think, as so much as the Saints are maybe not as good as we're thinking. But again, this is one of those matchups where I'm like, I could see it realistically going either way. Like, maybe Bryce Young comes back and he's like, okay, I can actually play ball this year. But I think I will take the Saints, and I don't know if I'm taking them to cover. I can see them winning by 3, not necessarily 4.
I can see them winning by a touchdown here, honestly. I mean, I just don't trust the Panthers' offense to score as many points as I do that Saints offense. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be close. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring from the Saints, though, either. I think you'll probably see a score of like 28-17, 28-20, somewhere around there, I think. Falcons hosting the Steelers. Obviously 2 new eras for both these teams. Falcons favored by 3.5. 2 new eras, 2 new quarterbacks for these teams. Veteran quarterbacks for these teams as well. You have Kirk Cousins, who left Minnesota, went to Atlanta to try and maybe win a Super Bowl, and he's got a ton of weapons to throw to. Now I know Pitts is out with a hamstring injury. unfortunately. But the Falcons' defense last year was top 10 in pretty much every category. So I'm taking Atlanta to win this game, and they will cover that 3.5. The Steelers, Russell Wilson is cooked. He does have some weapons to throw to, but not nearly as many as what Cousins has. And the Steelers' defense just isn't nearly as good as the Atlanta defense. So I have to roll with Atlanta in this one.
Yeah, this is one of those games where I'm like, if they win this one for the Steelers, it's because they're going to crawl to a 500 record under Mike Tomlin somehow because they find ways to do it. But I am with you. I think the Falcons do take this one. Kirk Cousins just got the big deal. They have, Bijan Robinson, who was, arguably one of the best running back picks coming out of these drafts recently. And now you're giving them a competent quarterback who's not Desmond Shitter. So I feel like, once Kyle Pitts comes back, that gives him an opportunity to actually have someone throwing him the ball. So I think, Atlanta does take this one, and this is going to be, the start of Atlanta's coming back, and they might potentially at the end of the season win, the NFC South.
Yeah, I mean they're my favorite to win the NFC South. I Before they signed Kirk Cousins, I said yeah, it's probably going to be Tampa Bay again. But now after that, I was like, well, they have a competent quarterback now, so yeah. The Dolphins hosting the Jaguars. Miami favorite here by 3.5. I'm going to take Miami in this one. They are not going to cover. I think they win by 3 at the very most. This is going to be a dog of a game. Very, very high scoring because both these teams, the defenses both got better this offseason, just not a whole lot. The offenses definitely got better. Tua got paid as well. And Trevor Lawrence is out here trying to prove that, he deserves the money he's getting. So, this is going to be a very high-scoring affair. I'm going to take Miami to win. This is going to be a very close game down to the end, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think Miami does cover, but I do think they win. I think both of these teams, they surpass the total because it's at 48.5, and I think they can hit that no problem. They can both score 30 each.
Yeah, at the very least, they're scoring. Both of these teams are scoring 30. I don't think the defenses are going to really be able to hold up all too well, but we could be wrong here. Indianapolis hosting the Houston Texans. Houston favored by 3 in this one. I'm going to take Houston in this one. I also think they won't cover, though. I think Indy got a lot better, especially defensively. Getting Latu is a huge, huge help to that defensive front, especially when you have Forrest Buckner on that defensive line already. Now you're just asking for trouble. So the question mark is Anthony Richardson. Really, can he keep them in the game? He's got weapons to throw to. It's just can he even keep himself in the game? Because we saw last year 5 games and 3 different injuries. I mean, he is the definition of a glass cannon. But I think he should be able to at least keep the Colts close in this one. They might be able to pull off the upset here, but I'm pulling for the Texans.
Yeah, I'm also picking the Texans, and they don't cover because it's a divisional game, and divisional games are always tough, right? And then it's the AFC South, so it's always one of those divisions that just mutilates itself. The lesser teams beat the higher teams, but this is a case where these are two commonly bottom feeder teams with 2 young quarterbacks who very highly touted young quarterbacks who can just put on a show. And now, the Texans could just run away with this one. It is possible, but it is also possible that the Colts steal it. So, it's going to be a good one to watch. And like I said, I'm going with the Texans, and I don't know if they cover.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to go down to the wire. I don't think necessarily super high scoring, but I don't think low scoring either. Somewhere around a 28-30 victory for the Texans maybe, and they're not covering on that 3, so there's that. Chargers hosting the Raiders. The Chargers favored by 3 as well in this one. And you know what? I like the Chargers in this one. I don't trust Aiden O'Connell for Las Vegas here. And obviously it's a new system for the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh coming in, but I think it's really going to come down to the fact that the Chargers have a competent quarterback, and I think the defense on both for both these teams is not that good, but the Chargers I would say is a little bit better, and we know what Justin Herbert is, and so yeah, I completely trust the Chargers to win this one. And I think they can cover that 3.
Yeah, I going into this one, I was looking at it, I was like, okay, maybe the Raiders might have a chance because that defense with Max Crosby is. I wouldn't want to face Max Crosby, especially I'm the Chargers. I'm Justin Herbert. I've been getting beat up my career. Seeing Max Crosby, I mean, I'm in the same division as him, so I got to see him twice a year. But now I got to start the season against him. That's just like begging to start the season rough. I do think that the Chargers win it. It's the Jim Harbaugh era. He's back in the NFL. I think he's, a competent coach, and he's capable of hopefully making the Chargers not be, the new Lions where they just kind of the laughing stock of the league, where you just find ways to lose games that you just should not.
No, I mean, look, Jim Harbaugh, he's got pedigree. I mean, he's gone to a Super Bowl. He hasn't won one, but he's gone to one. So I think he can very, very well turn this Chargers team around. Seattle hosts Denver. Seattle favored by 6 in this one. I like Denver. I like their offense at least. Bo Nix looks like he could be pretty good, at least serviceable in the NFL. It's just, I think, with the situation that they have in terms of weapons and defensively, I would favor Seattle in this game. Seattle's got a much better defense. Geno Smith, he didn't look all too great last year, but he's at least serviceable in the NFL. I don't think he's going to win you a Super Bowl by any means, but I think very, very easily Seattle could win this game and cover that 6.
Yeah, it's in Seattle. I see this game at least a touchdown in Seattle's favor, maybe more. Because, yeah, the Broncos aren't a great team. Yes, they have Sean Payton as their head coach, so he'll find a way to, mastermind his way to a couple wins that they probably shouldn't get. But yeah, Bo Nix is serviceable for a rookie quarterback, but they got to get weapons and improvements on that defense to even think about going anywhere, really.
Yeah, I think the Broncos are going to finish second in the AFC West. I think they're a better team than both Vegas and LA, but there's no way they're going to catch the Chiefs. No way. Not right now, anyways. The Browns host the Cowboys. Browns favored by 2.5 in this one. I'm actually going to roll with the Cowboys in this one. I think, CeeDee Lamb just got paid. He wants to go out. He wants to prove that he deserves that money. Dak looks like he's going to be pretty solid at least this year, at least in the regular season. I trust the Browns' defense a lot more than I do Dallas's, but Dallas's defense is still very, very good. And I think I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win this one in a close one, but give me the Cowboys.
I think I'm taking Cleveland at home, but they don't cover that 2.5. This is going to be a game where Dallas is up 2 late, and Cleveland walks it off with the game-winning field goal, so they win by 1. That's how I'm imagining it. I think that Cleveland defense is really fucking good. But at the same point, Micah Parsons and the Cowboys got themselves some dogs out there too. But I don't trust Dak. It's in Cleveland. I think Cleveland will walk away with this in a really, really close game, and it'll be a walk-off field goal.
That I mean, it's definitely possible. I just trust that receiving core from Dallas a little bit more than I do the Browns, and I think that's really where it pans out. Because again, you don't have really a good quarterback on either team, but at least Dallas has a CeeDee Lamb. So yeah, I just have to go with the Cowboys in this one. Tampa Bay hosting Washington. Tampa Bay favored by 3.5 in this one. I think the Bucks are going to win this one. I think they cover that 3.5 no problem. Um, the Commanders, you know, Jane Daniels, he's gonna get himself into a lot of trouble this year. I think he depends a little bit too much on his feet. He doesn't slide, and he is tiny, dude. He is a very very small dude for a quarterback. Um, and he doesn't slide. He's gonna get himself killed this year. So, I think just overall though, Dallas, not Dallas, Tampa Bay, they're an established team. They have a lot more pieces of the puzzle than Washington does right now. The offensive line for Washington is awful. Still, it got slightly better this offseason, but not a whole lot. And Tampa Bay's defense, while it's not good, it's somewhat better than Washington's. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay here, and they're going to cover that 3.5.
Yeah, I'm also taking Tampa and that they're going to cover. This is a Tampa team that went to the divisional round and just barely lost to the Lions. The new resurgent Lions, that is. So this isn't a pushover team by any means. They just won the NFC South. They're going to be up there challenging the Falcons for that division. But I think the Commanders with Jaden Daniels at the start. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to have some flaws and he's going to have some mistakes that he's going to make. And you hope if you're a Commanders fan that he does it early on. But I think this is a game that the Buccaneers defense will probably keep them above that, 3.5, pretty much the entirety of the game.
Yeah, I think you said it best too. Tampa Bay is going to be fighting for the NFC South this year with Atlanta, and it's going to be close between those two teams. I think all year, and I just think Tampa Bay just overall a much better team on both sides of the wall. Sunday night, Detroit hosting the Rams. Detroit a 4.5 point favorite in this game. I think Detroit wins. They do not cover though. I've seen a lot of headlines, saying, "Oh, Stafford's going to come back and torch the Lions," and he's coming back with a vengeance. No, he's not. No, he's not. The Lions got a lot better on both sides of the ball, especially on the defense. I don't think he's going to torch. I mean, he didn't even torch the Lions last year against the piss poor secondary they had last year. So, what makes you think that this year with a better secondary for the Lions is going to be the same? That said, the Rams defense is also pretty solid this year, I think, at least on paper. They should be. But the Lions offense, elite. I think the Lions win. This is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a lot more emotional of a game, and that's why it's going to be closer. Especially because, again, Matthew Stafford, he's coming back to Detroit again, but this time in the regular season. And he wants to try and beat this Lions team. But I just think the Lions overall a better team, but the Lions are going to win this game. I just don't think they cover that 4.5.
Yeah, I'm also taking the Lions here at home against the Rams. It's the first of their two playoff rematches to start the year. And like you said, it's, Matthew Stafford's coming back yet again. And his wife Kelly said that she's not coming back because, boo-hoo, she couldn't handle it. But, it's fine. It's okay because she doesn't want to see her husband lose yet again. But I don't think they cover. I think, like you said, it's going to be a really close game. Probably very reminiscent of the score of the playoff game. I don't know if either of these teams will eclipse 30 points, but if they do, it'll be, the likes of 27-30.
Yeah, I think it's going to kind of play out just like it did in the playoffs. Kind of a mid-scoring game. Not super high, but not low-scoring either. And the Lions will pull out a victory here, and it's going to be a close one. And if it's possible both teams eclipse 30, but I don't think it's going to be by much for either. And then Monday night, we have the Niners hosting the Jets. The Niners, a 4.5 point favorite over the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is back. Maybe he can play more than 4 snaps of football this year. We'll see. I like the Jets' offense if Aaron Rodgers can still be healthy. Anyways, I think the Jets can at least stay in this game. The defense for both these teams is also very, very elite. I think realistically, you're going to see one of two outcomes in this game. It's going to be very low scoring because both these defenses are very good defenses, or it can be very high scoring because both these offenses are very good offenses. I don't trust Brock Purdy a whole lot, though. I still don't. I don't like him. I trust Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know if I trust his ankle. I am going to roll with San Francisco in this one. I don't think they cover as well. I think it's going to be very, very close. I don't think they can win by 5, though. I think the Jets' defense is at least going to keep them in the game all game long. And, sort of the same deal for San Francisco's defense. Both these defenses are so, so good. But I just think the Niners have a little bit more edge on both sides of the ball, so I'm going to roll with the Niners here, but they do not cover that 4.5.
Yeah, if this was in New Jersey, I probably would have rolled with the Jets, but I think I'm rolling with the Niners, and they're not gonna cover. Because, like you said, the Jets' defense isn't, it's not some pushover. They've been touted as one of the best units in the league for a while, and with a corner like Sauce Gardner, you have bragging rights. He's one of the best players at his position as a rookie, if not the best player at his position as a rookie, and that's saying something. But I think just the offensive firepower, especially if Christian McCaffrey is indeed playing this game, that it's gonna be too much for Aaron Rodgers and the offense to keep up with. But the Jets defense will give them those opportunities.
Yeah, and the Jets defense might be able to win the game for them with a pick. So yeah, you never know. You never know.
Would not be shocked to see it.
No, I wouldn't be either. So that's going to wrap up your NFL weekend preview. So now we're going to flip over to college football here. We're just going to kind of roll through these quick because a lot of these games are pretty much cupcakes for everyone except for one, and we're going to go over that first here. Number 10, Michigan, hosting number 3, Texas, at the Big House. Texas favored by 7.5. Before last week, Texas was favored by 3.5. After that Michigan game, that line moved up to 7.5 here. Michigan's offensive line did not look all too impressive against a not so great defensive front of Fresno State. Now, I say not so great, I mean that in comparing Group of 5 to Power 5. For Group of 5, that's a very good defensive front from Fresno State. Michigan's offensive line struggled. Donovan Edwards couldn't get going. Mullings had a good game, but he wasn't too impressive, but he did have a good game. Michigan's defense, it's still very, very good. I think they're going to have a successful year on the defensive side of the ball. Texas's offense, a lot better than what Michigan's defense saw, though, against Fresno State. And honestly, Texas's defense, a hell of a lot better than what Michigan saw. And if Michigan's offensive line was getting a little bullied at times against Fresno State, they're gonna have their hands full against this Texas defensive front because it's a hell of a lot bigger, a hell of a lot stronger, a hell of a lot faster, and just a hell of a lot better in general. I think Texas wins. They cover that 7.5. I hate to say that as a Michigan fan, but Texas is back, and I want my Wolverines to win. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah, this is one of those games where you ask God to show up to work on a Saturday because you want your team to win, but he works in mysterious ways, right? And yeah, it's not going to go in Michigan's favor. Texas is definitely going to win this one, but I want to give credit to that Michigan defense and hope they might be able to stop Texas from covering, but that offense just might be too good, and that defense might even get some scores with that offensive line being that iffy for Michigan. They might get to the quarterback, start causing some picks or some strip fumbles. So, this could get out of hand for Michigan really quickly. And, it is in the Big House, and that is a tough environment to play, but Texas, they went into Alabama and beat Alabama, didn't they? So
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
this will be the same thing pretty much. It'll be is Texas ready for the playoffs? And if they win, the answer is yes. And if they blow Michigan out of the water, which could happen if Michigan is just having one of those terrible games. But this is going to be one of those games on the Texas schedule where it was like they played a top 10 opponent at the time, they won it. That's going to be able to put them, into those, seedings even better, somehow if they're not one of they end up not beating Georgia, so they're not one of the top 4 seeds. this win against Michigan helps them.
Yeah, either way, they'll probably have a home playoff game this year. And also too with Michigan, they don't have a quarterback. I wasn't impressed with Warren, and Orgy looked like ass. So I'm not impressed with Michigan's offense at all, and I just don't see a way Michigan wins this game. Now the defense might be able to keep them in it at least early on, but if your offense isn't scoring points, it's hard to win games. Number 8, Penn State hosting Bowling Green. Penn State favored by 35. We really don't have to go over this game into too much detail. But, yeah, Penn State wins. They cover, no problem. Penn State looked really good against West Virginia. They'll beat the shit out of Bowling Green, no problem, I think.
Yeah, this is you said it. Penn State wins. They cover next game.
Yeah. Number 16, Oklahoma State hosting Arkansas. Oklahoma State favored by 7.5 here. Oklahoma State, I mean, Arkansas is no. I mean, they're one of those teams. I think they're going to be right around that 6-6, 7-5 window. I think that we talked about that in the SEC preview, that they can be a bowl eligible team this year. I just think Oklahoma State's a hell of a lot better of a team. I think Oklahoma State wins. I think they cover that 7.5, but they're probably going to win by like 10, maybe somewhere between 10 and 14 points. We'll call it. But yeah, I'm taking Oklahoma State to beat Arkansas. It's at home too, so yeah, give me Oklahoma State.
Yeah, this sure Arkansas may have scored 70 points last week, but Oklahoma State is not Arkansas playing bluff, right? So Oklahoma State, they are a top 25 team in the nation right now, and this is going to be a test for Arkansas. Yeah, again, like I said, they put 70 points up last week, so you're coming in riding high, thinking, you're having a really good time on, all cylinders. It's not often you see a team score 70 points in one game, unless, you're playing a video game and put it on rookie mode. But again, this is a top 25 team. They're a ranked team for a reason. I think Arkansas does lose this game, and Oklahoma State probably will cover.
Yeah, it should be a not easy game for Oklahoma State, but not difficult either, if that makes sense. Tulane is hosting number 17 Kansas State. Kansas State favored by 9. Tulane is one of those teams I think that could make the playoff as a group of 5 team. They're going to be battling with the likes of like Boise State and Fresno State this year for that that top seeded group of 5 team. So I think Kansas State's going to win this game. But if Tulane can keep it close and they can fight Kansas State to the end, they that helps their resume at the end of the year for the playoff selections. I still think Kansas State much better team than Tulane right now. And Tulane, they are that powerhouse group of 5 school, but I just think Kansas State better all around, better defense, better offense. Give me Kansas State to win. They do not cover though.
Yeah, I think 9 is doing Tulane a little dirty. I think Kansas State will win, but it will not be by 9 points. I will give them as high as 6 points. But I think Tulane is one of these programs that has been playing very well as of late, and even for a non-power forward team, they've been playing off the charts. It's Kansas State isn't a world beater by any means, but at the end of the day, they're still a Power 4 team. It's going to be a tough test, and they get, like you said, it might a loss here, a close loss here for Tulane could probably help them at the end of the day, or end of the season rather, when we're comparing them for the group of 5 spot in the playoff.
Yeah, and Tulane the last few years has been ranked. They've been in and out of the top 25. Nowhere near inside the top 20, but they've been in and out of the top 25 the last few years. So they're right on that edge of like being just a really solid team. And if you have Boise State and you're going to be basically battling that Boise State at this point, a good loss to Kansas State. You look good in this game to Kansas State. That helps build that resume. Syracuse is hosting number 23, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech favored by 3 in this one. I wasn't too impressed watching Syracuse last weekend. Georgia Tech, I'm not too impressed with them either. I think they're a lot better team than Syracuse. This is going to be a close game, but I think Georgia Tech wins and covers this one. I think Georgia Tech is a all-round better team, but again, I'm not too impressed with either of these teams here. But yeah, I'll take Georgia Tech to win and cover.
I mean, yeah, I was impressed with Georgia Tech when they beat Florida State in Dublin. That was before we saw Florida State, get embarrassed by Boston College, the following week. But I do think that Georgia Tech will win this game and they will cover. The total, however, is something I'm little iffy on. It's 60.5. So I don't know if both of these teams are going to score 30 points on each other. Because I don't know if Syracuse will score 30 points. But other than that, yeah, Georgia Tech wins and covers.
Yeah, I don't know either way if that over is going to hit, but yeah, Georgia hosting. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, Tennessee Tech. Who the fuck is that guy? Um, I can't even find a spread for this game. But the matchup predictor has Georgia winning at 99% chance of winning. So take that with what you will. I don't know who the fuck Tennessee Tech is. Give me Georgia, and they're gonna blow them out of the water.
Yeah, there's just yeah, Georgia's gonna win, and it's not gonna be a pretty win by any means. Tennessee Tech's being paid to lose that game by like 45, 50.
Yeah. Number 5, Notre Dame hosting Northern Illinois. Notre Dame favored by 28. Give me Notre Dame. Give me the points. They'll cover that, no problem. Northern Illinois is not good. They're a MAC school. And Notre Dame is really, 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 really good, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They might pitch a shutout in this one.
Yeah, like you said it, Northern Illinois, they're a MAC school. Notre Dame's a top 5 team in the country right now. With that defense, they can very well pitch a shutout, and that is. I mean, you're doing it to a MAC school, so at the end of the day, it's not that impressive. But I think Notre Dame is going to get a win here, and they're probably scoring and getting the spread themselves easily.
Yeah. 28 to win by 28. I think Notre Dame could do that, no problem. I mean, the offense isn't as good as I thought it would be, but that defense is just so good. And Northern Illinois, their defense blows, and so does their offense. So, yeah. Number 11, Utah is hosting Baylor. Utah favored by 14.5. Now, last year these teams played against each other, but this was down in Waco. Utah won. They barely got away with a win there, but I think a lot of that had to do with, one, no Cam Rising, and also just Utah not being used to that super hot weather that they had to play that game in last year. Now Baylor gets to travel up north to Utah. Utah has a healthy Cam Rising. They have healthy players all around. So I think Utah wins. They cover that 14.5 as well. I know Baylor, they aren't that good, especially defensively. Their defense does not look good at all. Offensively, they'll be all right, but I think, yeah, Utah, offense, defense, they got it all, and they're healthy this year as well. I think Utah wins and covers this, no problem.
Yeah, this is, Cam Rising revenge tour pretty much at this point for Utah. They're going to win and they're going to cover. This is a game where they're probably going to end up being put into the top 10 after this. If he throws for another 250, 300 yards and another 5 touchdowns, yeah, this man's going to be pitching a Heisman campaign already 2 games into the season.
Yeah, exactly. Number 21, Iowa hosting Iowa State. Iowa favored by 3 in this one. Iowa's defense much better than Iowa State's. Offense, I lean towards Iowa State to win this game, but man, to pick a team in this matchup, this in-state rivalry, it's gonna be tough. I want to take Iowa State. Especially being just, a Michigan fan. I hate Iowa, but give me Iowa. Their offense actually looked pretty decent. I know they didn't, play really anyone last week, but defense really wins games, and Iowa's defense is a lot better than Iowa State's. Now, Iowa State's defense isn't terrible, but they're not nearly as good. as Iowa's defense. And again, I would lean more towards Iowa State's offense being better, but yeah, give me Iowa, but they do not cover that 3.
Yeah, this is going to be the test, right? It's your in-state rival. You are playing at home for Iowa. Your defense, is definitely one of the best in the country. Your offense, they put up some points for the first time in however long. Last week against Illinois State. Again, this is a Power 5 team now. This is a different beast. So let's see how the offense performs. Can they score 20 points on offense? But I think that defense will be, the game changer for Iowa. I'm not with I don't think they cover either, but they will win.
Yeah, plain and simple, I think they will. Louisville, number 22 in the country, hosting Jacksonville State. Louisville favored by 27.5. Louisville looked good. They started off right where they left off last year, basically. I really like this Louisville team. I like where that program's headed. Give me Louisville to cover that 27.5.
Yeah, this is, another matchup where you have a top 25 team playing, another no-name school, I guess. I don't know who Jacksonville State is.
It's the school that Dion came from, that he was coaching before Colorado, if that tells you anything.
Oh, well, that's cool. I mean, they lost their first game 55-27 to Coastal Carolina, so I'm not very comfortable to see them playing, a now ranked Louisville team.
Yeah, exactly.
Louisville will win this game in.
Give me the points on Louisville on that one for sure. Number 6, Ole Miss hosting Middle Tennessee. Ole Miss favored by 43. Give me Ole Miss and the points. Jackson Dart is elite. He's another Heisman candidate. He's gonna, just like Cam Rising, try to pitch another elite, make me the Heisman sort of game here against Middle Tennessee, who, Middle Tennessee, they're no joke, but they're not, any, good team either. They're kind of just a mid-level group of 5 teams. So yeah, give me Ole Miss, and they will cover that 43 as well. I think that offense can put up like 60 plus against this team.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that offense might be able to play with hitting the over just by themselves. So yeah, give me Ole Miss, and yeah, I'm taking them to run with that spread.
Absolutely. Number 12, Miami hosting Florida A&M. Miami, not even a spread on this one I can find. But Miami, same thing as the Georgia game, 99% chance to win. Yeah, give me Miami, and let's call the spread. Let's just make one up. We'll call it 25.5, and I'll still take Miami to cover that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking Miami. Looking at who Florida A&M has played, they played Norfolk State week 1, and barely won 24-23, and then they played, I'm assuming, South Carolina State and barely won 22-18. Now you're playing, the University of Miami. Yeah, it's not going to look pretty. You're getting blown out. Congratulations, Miami, going to blow out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blowout. Florida A&M, shitty FCS school. No one really cares about you. Let's move on. Number 4, Alabama hosting South Florida. Alabama favored by 31. Now, last year, South Florida gave Bama a run for their money, but that was Nick Saban. That was a completely different team than what Alabama is this year. Give me Alabama to win, but they will not cover. I think South Florida, while they aren't good, I think they can maybe put up a somewhat decent fight against this Alabama team. Give me Alabama, but they won't cover that 31.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same. I don't know if Alabama will cover that 31, but I also see that they could do it as well. Like I'm right there on that line where I'm like I can see it, but I'm just not really comfortable with that 31. If it was more like a 29 and a half, 30, I think I'd be more comfortable with it. But yeah, I'm definitely taking Alabama to win.
Yeah, I just don't see how South Florida wins this game. I think Bama's better than last year, and Kalen DeBoer, he might prove that he is worthy of coaching a SEC team. Number 9, Missouri hosting Buffalo. Missouri favored by 34.5. Buffalo shit. Give me Missouri to cover.
Yeah, Buffalo, another MAC school. Yeah, just not good in general. So Missouri is, they're playing on a different level than they have been for a long time. So yeah, give me Missouri and they're going to cover. And hell, they might score the over themselves.
Yeah, they very well could. That 51.5 looks very, very nice to take that over. Illinois hosts number 19 Kansas. Kansas a 4.5 point favorite in this game. Now Illinois, they've kind of been the laughing stock of the Big Ten for a while, but now they've kind of got the program to a point where they've gotten some good recruits in the last few years. I like Kansas's team a lot better. Give me Kansas. They don't cover, though. I think this is going to be a lot closer of a game than a lot of people will think it is. Vegas certainly thinks so. And, while Illinois, they aren't, what they were 2 years ago, when they were ranked, they're still a good team. They're not bad, but they are Big Ten average, which is pretty solid, I would say. So, but yeah, give me Kansas to win, but they don't cover that 4.5.
Yeah, I'm also with you. It's in Illinois, so I think Kansas might have some issues there, but yeah, they Kansas will win and they will not cover.
Number 2, Ohio State hosts Western Michigan. OSU favored by 38. Give me OSU in the points. Western Michigan is really, really bad. So yeah, Ohio State. They had some question marks in the first half against Akron. I think this will be a lot easier of a team to play for Ohio State, and they might have worked some kinks out from that first half performance. So yeah, give me Ohio State to win and cover that 38.
Yeah, again, it's another MAC school that they're playing back to back, and it's Ohio State. They're gonna win and they're gonna cover, and that's another team that they're probably flirting with hitting the over themselves.
Yeah, I mean, they put up 60 last week, so I wouldn't be surprised at all. Number 24, NC State hosting number 14, Tennessee. Tennessee favored by 10 here. I was not too impressed with NC State's performance last week at all. They struggled against a not-so-good team. Tennessee looks impressive this year so far. Again, it's only 1 week, so, it's kind of hard to get a good read. But give me Tennessee to win this game. They don't cover. I think they're going to win by a touchdown at most. I think NC State will at least keep this game close. Both these teams' defenses aren't that great. The offenses are good. I just like Tennessee's offense a lot more. So, yeah, give me Tennessee to not cover, though.
Yeah, I'm saying give me Tennessee and they will cover. I was not instilled with confidence with NC State at all by that performance, so I think Tennessee will cover.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible. I just think NC State might, work out some kinks that they really desperately need to, but yeah. Number 18, LSU hosts Nichols. Who the fuck is that guy? Look, it's an FCS school. LSU's going to win. There's no spread. Same thing, 99% chance to win. LSU's going to blow this team out of the water, though.
Yeah, give me LSU in a blowout. It's really no point to really go over it.
Yeah. Number 15, Oklahoma is hosting Houston. Houston lost to UNLV last week, 27-7. They are not good at all. Oklahoma favored by 28 in this one. Give me Oklahoma to win. Give me Oklahoma to cover.
Yeah, I mean, you lose to UNLV 27-7. That's pretty embarrassing. Give me Oklahoma to win and cover.
Absolutely. Number 25, Clemson hosts App State. Clemson favored by only 16.5 in this one. And that kind of worries me that they're only favored by 16.5 over App State, who's not a good team by any means. I think Clemson wins here. I think they cover that 16.5 too. I mean, yes, that offense struggled, but they struggled against Georgia. I think they can bounce back this week against the App State defense that isn't nearly as talented. And they can, also, have a better defensive day against the App State team that isn't as good as Georgia offensively either. So, yeah, give me Clemson to win and cover that 16.5.
Yeah, you would hope that as a Clemson fan that they would bounce back and win after, that kind of embarrassing performance against Georgia. But yeah, I'm also going to say give me Clemson and they will cover.
Number 7, Oregon hosts Boise State. Oregon favored by 21.5. Boise State looked really impressive last week. Obviously, they have the number 1 running back in the country. And Oregon didn't look too impressive against Idaho last week, and now they got to play another Idaho team. This one, FBS school though, uh, give me Oregon to win, but they don't cover. This is going to be a touchdown win at most for Oregon. They did look dominant against Idaho, just a lot of not able to score, and they moved the ball a ton, but they didn't score last week a lot. But yeah, I think Oregon they're gonna work out some of the problems that they had. It's gonna be a good game. I think Boise State, or not Boise, but Oregon's defense is gonna have their hands full trying to stop that run game from Boise State. But I still think Oregon wins, but they come nowhere close to covering that 21.5.
Yeah, I do think Oregon wins, and they don't come close to covering that 21 and a half. They are going to have their hands full, trying to stop the run from the backfield there. My man had 20 carries for 267 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like, he tore it up last game, and then so it's going to be crazy what we're going to see from Oregon. Is Boise State going to upset them? Probably not, but hell, there might be potential if he has another 6 touchdown performance. But yeah, give me Oregon to win, but not cover.
Number 20 hosts Northern Arizona. Northern Arizona FCS school. Give me Arizona to win. I'm not even seeing a spread for this one either because, that's what happens when you have really good teams playing against FCS schools. Give us good games, please. Stop scheduling FCS teams. But yeah, give me Arizona to win. They look good last week offensively. Defensively, they left a lot to be desired. They did not look good defensively, but offensively, I think they picked off right where they left off last year. Fafita he's a really good quarterback. I think he's very, very underrated. I don't think he's a Heisman guy by any means, but I think he is first round talent worthy. I really, really genuinely believe that because he looked really, really solid last week.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It's the top 20 team, and it's I don't know who Northern Arizona is, but yeah, I think Arizona is gonna win this game, and you might see another 4 touchdown, 400-yard performance from Profita if he's really feeling up to it.
I think it's very possible, especially considering that Northern Arizona is a FCS school. So I think he's going to have a fucking field day on Saturday. And then rounding out our top 25, number 13, USC hosts Utah State. USC a 28.5-point favorite in this game. Now, Utah State, they aren't good. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They aren't a good team, but they're a lot better than, a lot of these, FCS teams that these teams are playing or some of these other group of 5 teams. I want to take USC. I really want to take them to cover, too. I think they can. I mean, Moss looks like he's probably the best Big Ten quarterback right now. Just the way he played against LSU, making NFL throw after NFL throw after NFL throw. It's like, man, Lincoln Riley's got a fucking quarterback factory there in USC. I think Utah State's going to play USC tough, but it might be tough in the first half, and USC opens it up in the second half. Give me USC to win and cover.
Yeah, I think USC wins and covers. They were playing out pretty well, and they beat LSU 27-20 week 1. So first game post Caleb Williams, not too damn bad, I'd say.
No, not bad at all. I think they look good, especially against LSU, and I was and the defense looks really good too for USC. I mean, they're not afraid to tackle anyone, which is really nice to see. And I was trying to talk myself into not saying USC covers this, but at the same time, that offense just looked so good last week, and against a much more inferior defense in Utah State. I gotta take USC to cover that 28.5. That's a big 28.5 though. If they're going over or if they're covering, they're gonna barely cover that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think with that defense and the way they played, and just they seemed revamped out there. They actually will tackle. I think if the defense will play a part, and if they do cover, and it'll be close.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, with that said, that is your weekend preview for both NFL Week 1 and college football Week 2. rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know what more you want to see from us. Go follow us on Twitter. It's at the Andrew N. Ian Show, because Andrew and Ian Show is just a little bit too long. So Andrew N. Ian Show. Go follow us there. We're going to keep trying to grow this thing, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next week on Tuesday.